Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Lance Knaub and welcome to Moving Mountains. I'm here today with my friend Erik Cabral, owner and founder of On Air Brands. Erik, so good to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
I guess we've known each other for a couple years now. We were just talking about it. I think we first crossed paths in Park City. That was my first, the National Mastermind that we both are part of, events with GoBundance, and you were a busy man just doing podcasts back to back.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Not far from where we are sitting now. Kind of the studio vibe and feel. That was a part of our business then. We don't do much of it now, but yeah, creating that podcast, pop-up podcast experience within larger events. That's you can move the needle. I think we've really helped to develop and grow that mastermind tremendously during that year.
Okay, well, I'm excited to hear about it all.
Yeah,
this, I love this marketing stuff and media. This is all new to me, but even for me, tell us a little bit about yourself personally and your journey and how what inspired you to start the business, but how we got to today.
Yeah. How long do we have?
As long as you need.
No.
Make
Let's
it a
see.
2-hour show.
Yeah. I'll try to truncate my story, but in corporate America for over 20 years, brother.
Oh, wow.
So over 2 decades, doing creative. So from art direction to graphic design, marketing, logos, and branding. That was my world for that long. So when it got to the point, though, where I was getting to the level, what we call creative director, which is the highest that I could go in that field, I was privy to the business, which I was never. I was usually the cog in the machine. Right? I wasn't the guy running the show or one of the top dogs. But in this case, I finally got involved on the business side of things, and I started to see the numbers, and I started to do a lot of the hires. Had a COO, but not a COO because this is for corporate, so she was my operations.
Got it.
Right? And then I started to recognize, these are the pieces that are always around me, right? So I'm the visionary creative, didn't think about it in that case as a rocket fuel EOS type of thing, but I was always coupled with an integrator, an operations person. And then when I saw how it was working from the back end, we had an opportunity to create an internal creative agency for Big Pharma. It was the #1 pharma company at the time.
Okay.
So in-house creative agency from $500,000 to over $2.5 million in about less than 2 years.
Wow,
in probably
that's great
18 months.
growth.
Yeah, it was bizarre, dude, and I had never experienced it from that level before. I had been part of other organizations where we grew an internal creative agency from 5 people to 50, but that took years.
Yeah.
But to finally be a major piece of that puzzle gave me so much confidence, but I didn't know what I was in for when I was laid off of that job. They're like, thanks for all the help, Erik, and now, see you later. And that's what made me sort of a little bit angry and bitter about that experience and like what I did, but then it gave me the confidence to go, hey, if I could do that for them, why don't I do it for myself?
Okay.
So that's what brought us here 6 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's what really sparked you to start On Air Brands 6 years ago.
Yeah, about 7 years. Well, I got into real estate first. So that's really how this hall came to be and how I got into GoBundance.
Oh, got it.
But yeah, so about a year to a year and a half, 2 years of real estate focus. And then I started to pour into that community to do this, like
now
to do great stuff.
Yeah, how much is real estate part of your world now?
It's unfortunately not as much as I'd like it to be. I mean, we still have properties, we still lend out funds, but yeah, it's not my everyday, and I need to shift that because my focus is like my company has become my job, versus the passive income that I was building.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about all of that for sure. So, with On Air Brands currently, who do you serve? What are your areas of expertise? And I sort of understand if your website is up to date, right? Live streaming, podcasts, and sort of SEO marketing are some of your bigger things that you serve with.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because the website is not updated.
Okay.
So some things have changed.
Yeah.
So the main thing that we focus on is podcast launch and the production of that on a weekly basis. But that has evolved to YouTube. So we've now transitioned all of our clients who were audio-only podcasts. Some did video. But now 100% of our clients, I'd say 90, there's 2 outliers, but there's nearly 100% are YouTube channels.
Oh, wow.
So now we've become experts in growing YouTube channels, producing for YouTube, creating shorts and reels and all the social media behind every podcast that we produce for. Some of them are not even podcasts, they're just channels.
Okay.
So yeah, that's really been our focus, which has been fun because that was a nice pivot and change to what we were doing.
How recently have you done that?
The past, I'd say almost 2 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think, YouTube is a great medium that I really understand. So what problem are you solving for entrepreneurs and small business owners? Problem and or problems?
Yeah, so as you know, and within our group specifically, a lot of people just want to go right to the tactics. They're like, I need a podcast, I need YouTube, I need to go on social media.
You are speaking my love language. I'm like a big strategy guy.
Yeah,
from earlier
100%. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we go deep on some of the stuff that I love to go deep on, and that is the strategy part of it. Let's think about, let's slow down for a second, right? Let's take the pen and let's take the paper and let's start thinking about this before we actually hit record.
Right.
So a lot of people just want to, fire, ready, aim.
Totally.
Which is fine. But eventually what you'll find out is without clarity creates an audience that doesn't have clarity. You put out a message because you don't know what you're talking about or you don't know what you want the result to be.
Right.
You start to create all these other weird things. So I'll give you a perfect example. And a lot of GoBros are going to, people, if you're not in GoBundance, that is the short for, being in our mastermind. But a lot of my clients will say, hey, Erik, I love producing content, man. I just turned the camera on. But meanwhile, why are people asking me how to create a cold plunge or what red light therapy is or how do I do that? How do I create one in my closet? Like, I'm a real estate guy. That's because you're creating and putting out lifestyle content. If you're not creating a lifestyle brand, then stop putting that or be less frequent that if you want something to support your business and you want a result to be, I need more investors or I need more people in my mastermind group, then produce that type of content, right? So not knowing what it's going to lead to is where I do the work. It's like, let's think about what your message is, how can we get super focused and clear on what you're trying to do, and then start from there.
Yeah, I love that. So what are some of the biggest challenges for those entrepreneurs following your model? Where are they getting stuck?
Yeah, they don't know where to start.
Okay.
Or, they don't know where to start. So it's like,
how do you overcome that? How do you
well, it's a conversation, right? We have a conversation. What are you trying to do?
Right.
Who are you trying to serve? And what's the end result? Those are really
that
mainly the
you're
three
really
things.
actually doing like what I call, you're doing some planning, and people don't like the word business plan.
Right, it is like it's a business plan, but now it's relevant and specifically tied to the content. But the thing is, what I love about this, Lance, is that really the first step, the first domino, when I do the work with them, and this is, I'm sure you can relate to this very much, is you have to start with you.
Totally.
Like, who are you?
1000%.
Who are your core values? What are your core values? What are your systems and beliefs, right? A lot of people don't even know that. I'm like, tell me, give me 3 things. And I'm like, how do you create content if you don't even know who you are?
I like to ask them their priorities. I kind of boiled down a business planning process and added this personal step first and like a personal mission. But for people that struggle with trying to put into sentences what that is, I just say, well, what are your priorities? And they're able to bang that out.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you said something powerful there is what's your mission statement, right? What's your elevator pitch?
Right.
A lot of guys, that we know are very successful, but they've never actually distilled what they do into very few words.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's very difficult.
Right? And that's what I love to do. Is like, let's figure this out and then let's really own it.
Oh, wow. We're going to have to talk more about this. I'm so passionate about that. So besides, taking all of your life and business experience and now putting it into your, current, organization, on your journey to get here, how have you gotten through the valleys, the hard points? We always love to know from really successful people how they get through the challenging times, the rock bottom moments.
Yeah. And I mentioned this to you in an email, and I'll fast forward, but then I'll reverse a little bit. I'll go back in time. But right now it's my faith, right? It's my belief in God. And it's really honestly changed everything for me over the past 1.5 to 2 years when I became super clear on my mission and the message from the Lord. So the thing is, though, before that, it was the Miracle Morning. It was Tony Robbins. It was Jim Rohn, right? It was all those guys that were in my head, in my ear, on YouTube, every day, every morning. And I started realizing these guys are pulling from something that's ancient, right? These guys are talking about and just regurgitating things that are from Scripture.
Right.
So when I was like, why don't I just go to the source? Let me go to the very first thing that these guys are pulling from. And it's funny because it's become so counterculture to even have this conversation now, where people say the things, the universe, you know, and like, no, everyone's, oh, your God, like no one wants to offend. But it's like, that has to change, right? Because there's so much evil that I've recognized in the world that no one's talking about the opposite. And it's just, whoa, he's mentioned Jesus. Like, I can't talk about that. So that's what's getting a little bit frustrating for me. But what I've begun to realize is, let me just own this. This has become part of my brand. This has become a part of the culture of my company. Yeah. And then let's find more people like us that we can serve, more people that we can help, right? Because we're all in this together, right? It's all love, it's all light. And that's my mission right now, is to just find more of what I want to produce and create and put it out there.
Right. Wow. So powerful. No, I love that you found your mission and your passion and love and light. I love those words. So that's really helping you navigate things currently, I can tell, right?
Yeah.
You're really energized on this.
Every day, dude. I mean, because it was, everything in the beginning was like meditate. Right? Exercise, for sure, doing all the things, the miracle morning, the savers, you know, all those things, silence, affirmations, visualization, all those things. Now I just incorporated God, right? Because I'm like, oh, why am I worshiping Tony Robbins? Right? Even though he's got breath work, he's got a lot of great programs, literally programs that you can instill to get rid of your limiting beliefs. Like, I needed that in my life. Yeah. And still to this day, I have limiting beliefs. But the thing is, now with the foundation of faith, that's changed. That's the game changer for me. Okay. Yeah, that gets me up every morning. It's larger than me. It's larger than my family, my community. It's really the purpose at this point.
Okay, so good. And before we take a short break, anything else specific to integrate it into your life that you can just share with us?
Well, I meditate every morning, but then also pray.
And also just to add to that question, because you're right, I mean, we hear about all the problems in the world, but to add some solutions, I guess that. Yeah,
it's really getting up early in the morning, right, and having that time, you know, whether it's meditation or prayer, you need that time to start your day off right. Because and then turning on the phone is a very, very helpful, but then also counterintuitive tool that could take you down rabbit holes. Sure. So you have to be very careful that you go right to the app that's going to help. So for me, it's this app called Hollow. It's a Christian faith-based app. It's massive. You know, The Chosen, all those guys are part of that, the television show. Okay. But the thing is,
told me about that.
Yeah, The Chosen. They all, like Mark Wahlberg, everybody's behind it. Okay. But that's what kind of attracted me to it. I was like, oh, all these guys that I respect are in this app. So putting the first thing in your mind is so key, right? And also the first thing when you're going to sleep is critical. So like not going on YouTube and watching negativity, politics, you know, divisive stuff, but putting positive energy, positive thoughts. You know, for me, it's God's message. You know, for others, it could be something else. As long as it's good stuff, right? It's putting fuel into your body, into your system, into your mental factory is key, man, to keep it going every day and have it sustainable.
Awesome. So good. Thank you, Erik. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors. Everybody stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Un ataque cerebral puede ser fácil de detectar. Su ser querido no logra hablar o quizás no puede moverse. Pero existe otro síntoma de ataque cerebral que muchos de nosotros no vemos. Se llama negligencia espacial y puede ocurrir durante o después de un ataque cerebral, causando movimientos visuales distorsionados. Afortunadamente, existe una solución que utiliza tecnología óptica basada en prismas durante la rehabilitación. Si usted o su ser querido experimenta un ataque cerebral, pregúntele a su doctor sobre la negligencia espacial. Encuentre más información en kesslerfoundation.org.
Weeds. I have you surrounded. You just gonna stand there? Or are you gonna take your lawn back?
We're gonna take it back.
We're gonna take it back.
With Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action, it gets 3 jobs done at once. Kills weeds, prevents crabgrass, and keeps your lawn growing strong. Glorious!
No.
Get a bag of Scott's Triple Action today. It's guaranteed.
Feed your lawn.
And Doug.
Hey, man. Nice base. Clearly you're a safe driver. You could save hundreds for safe driving with Liberty Mutual. They customize your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. We gotta go again.
Only pay for what you need.
I learned how quickly everything can be taken away. 1 minute, I was playing college football. The next, I was paralyzed. I'm Erik Cabral. I believe I will walk again, but also know what I can do now. I'm applying my love of the game as a sports broadcaster and inspiring others along the way. Only my abilities matter. Visit Kessler Foundation on Facebook and tell us your abilities. And go to KesslerFoundation.org, where only abilities matter.
Hey, welcome back to Moving Mountains. I'm Lance Knaub, and I'm here with Erik Cabral. Erik, thanks for joining. So glad you're here.
Blessed to be here.
So good. And now I want to talk about another really passion point for me, like helping entrepreneurs stay healthy when they're growing and scaling. And how do you stay healthy and avoid burnout? And I always love to know specifically how much sleep entrepreneurs get, because that's like the first thing people cut.
Yeah, for sure, man. The sleep thing is key, like probably the number one thing. If you can't get a good night's rest, it just compounds into a host of other problems and issues. But I think the number one thing to getting a good night's rest is managing your stress. And managing your stress in that, for me, the tools that I use is journaling. So writing things down before I go to sleep, like thinking about my day before I go to sleep, planning, literally taking things off my Google Calendar and writing it into my journal. And then the things that are to do, like the top priorities for the next day, trying to get to bed or start the process earlier versus later. So, I mean, it's seasonal. Sometimes when we're busy, I get it. Midnight, 1 o'clock, you're working, especially if you're passionate about a project. But typically when the girls are going to bed, for me, that's when I'm going to bed. So if they're getting ready at 8:30, 9 o'clock, that's me too. We're all going to bed at the same time.
Okay, good.
Yeah, for sure. Because I get up typically at 5:30, 6 o'clock, sometimes earlier, depending on another piece of the puzzle is I found a group that holds me accountable to exercise at 6 a.m. Every day there's a workout. Yeah. So I typically start my day.
Is this?
They're called F3.
Okay.
So the F3 pillars are fellowship, so fellowship and friendship, fitness, and faith.
Okay.
And there's 100,000 members, bro, all around the world. Okay. It's powerful and it's free. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about that organization.
Do you work out in your home, or you have to go to a
facility?
No,
we rain, and that's the thing. It's always outdoors.
Oh, okay.
And it's always free. So it's great. Yeah, you just show up. I go to West Windsor, which is about 20 minutes from my house. Yeah. And there's at minimum 12 of us, to sometimes 30.
That's so cool.
And all just working out together, running around. This is maniacs. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, fitness, managing the stress, journaling, those are some of the things. Okay. Yeah. And diet, of course, is key. Yeah.
And you already kind of touched on this earlier, but anything else? You already talked about journaling with the mental health part of things. That's part of your routine?
Yeah, the mental health thing. Where do we start for there, Lance? Because it's always recognizing and having a level of self-awareness that when you react to something, for me, I think I reflect on that later at some point, whether it's through prayer, meditation, or journaling. Why did I get angry? Typically, it's anger that can point out something that you have connected to a trauma. So if I get angry because someone said a certain thing, I don't get mad at you or that I figure out, like, why did I respond that way? Right. Where is that connected to? And putting the work in, it's literally putting time, thought, and energy into pulling back the curtain and saying, where did I experience some trauma? Why I'm pissed off about that. So that's one key thing. Just it's a big thing. That's a big ball to unravel there. Bro.
For sure. No, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
One thing to just touch on quickly, because you're in the marketing space. That's kind of what I call it. And you're helping entrepreneurs, so people are aware of all the good offerings they have. Yeah. They're trying to improve the world. So how do you? I'm a big advocate for making decisions that make sense and helping entrepreneurs, understand return and value and even ROI. how do you do that with people you serve? Because you're kind of doing a
Yeah.
plan for them.
For sure. So I had to kind of spin the model, especially with people that we work with who are all investors, right? And we have our definition of ROI and the return on investment there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what we do is very abstract, right? There's a lot of moving parts and only so much control that we personally have versus what the subject matter expert has, right? That our clients.
Right.
So I had to kind of have them understand that when they come into this process of creating content that will serve their community and hopefully build their business, is you have to look at it through the lens of ROI being relationships, opportunities, and the impact that you have on your community and your family. So relationships is so powerful, dude. You need that, right? Those eventually become clients or business partners. And then when you have a podcast or you have a channel or you position yourself to be a thought leader, now you create opportunities, whether that's book deals, speaking on stages, getting on more podcasts, whatever it is, you're now opening the door for that. And then ultimately what you want to do is create more impact, right? You want to be able to create this ripple effect of positivity that really just benefits everyone around you. Yeah. So that's ROI to me, for sure. And if you're doing it right and you're doing it long enough and you've created sustainable systems, then now you can start to see the fruit from all that labor. Because a lot of people want to become overnight success. They want to how do I do this and get 1 million followers? I'm like, then don't do this. It's not for you if you want fame overnight. Because this happens over a long, long period of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's so good. I just finished reading Alex Hormozy's $100 Million Leads.
Yeah.
And, he's so good. And I love to quantify things as much as possible. But yeah, you can't do that with everything in marketing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, if you want short-term results, if you're going to be in and you're going to be out. But if you want to create a sustainable game, you want to be here for the long term, then you can't look at it through that. You'll drive yourself mad looking at your downloads.
Yeah. So I think you mentioned to me that you've been able to kind of turn some of your strengths into your weaknesses into some strengths. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Well, there's a story that I tell on stage about when I was little. Growing up 70s, 80s, I loved it, man. Everybody misses the 80s now with all the madness going on now. But there weren't a lot of Filipinos when I was growing up. So the story is always, I got teased a lot. I literally got rocks thrown at me.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Yonkers, New York.
Oh, okay.
And eventually we moved to upstate New York.
Okay.
But I was one of thousands of people. And what happened was, the funny story is, because I was so insecure about that and always trying to blend in, there was this one time where I saw this kid getting pummeled. He was getting beat up by a lot. There was probably a dozen or more kids on one kid in the middle. And I looked at all my buddies and I'm like, hey man, how do we help this guy? There's about 6 of us, but I mean, if we could go down there, we could help this poor soul. Yeah. I just start charging down. There's nobody behind me. Nobody's coming with me. I start charging down and I literally start kicking and punching just random people. Yeah. And they disperse, they just run off because of the element of surprise. Really stupid in hindsight. I mean, I would have been the next guy in the middle of that. But I took advantage of that. But then I also think I took advantage of the fact that I was Asian, because everybody always called me Bruce Lee, right? Nice. So I embodied that. I embodied like this, this character that ultimately helped this guy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can actually turn a weakness, something that you've always found as like an insecurity, and kind of flip it on its head and say, oh, how do I use this to serve others? How do I use this so that this is actually a superpower? Right. That's a unique story, but what is your story? What is your version of that, where you can actually own that and then now say, no, this is mine. I own it from now. You can't hold this against me.
Yeah, that's such a great story. I love that. Kudos to you for being brave.
Thanks, man. It was stupid, but ultimately.
It's a fine line, right, between stupidity and fearlessness sometimes.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome. No, so good. So I definitely want to ask you to boil down your best thoughts for people that want to achieve the highest levels of success in life and business. And if there's anything else that we haven't talked about that you really want to share, any other messages or anything important?
Yeah, I think it's really important to understand, number one, who you are. because there's a guy out there that's named Andrew Huberman, and he recently came out, like, he's a neuroscientist, created like one of the biggest podcasts, became like a bro, science bro, like all the
I saw him
bros.
in person. I took my 14-year-old son last year.
Great content, intelligent, great information, but he recently was now outed that he was a womanizer, right? He had 5-6 relationships going on at once. One of them was his main squeeze, but then like he was literally not living, I think, what I was viewing from him, his values, right? Like, what are your real core values? So the main point of that story is, if you're going to put yourself out there as a thought leader, there's a responsibility that you have to live a life that are truly, like, giving and serving and helping people, but then also exercising the things that and walking the walk that you're putting out there. So I think that is really key for people out there, is if you're going to put something out there and you're going to start creating a community, because that is what eventually happens, start putting the work into yourself. Start putting in the time, the energy, and the effort to be humble, to have humility, to control your anger and your stress, so that this way you can serve and have clarity when you're working with people, and your best, and I hate this term because it becomes so cliche, but your best version, right?
Right.
What is your highest and best use and version of you that you can now use to help people accomplish what they're trying to accomplish?
No, that's so good. I wasn't familiar with that. Actually, I haven't been listening to Huberman much in the last several months, but Richard C. Wilson might be a better example. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah,
He's
I do.
From the family office, for those listening, has the biggest family office in the United States, maybe the world, which is kind of like financial planners for the elite. But he really talks about being aligned from all angles, and he, I think he clearly does his best to live that.
Yeah, for sure. Don Wenner in our community too, from DLP, he's the same thing. Like, he puts himself out there. He's a faith-based Christian man and has all the values with family. And when you meet him in person, you see it. Like, it's real. That's the thing. It's like, as long as what I want to do is help people create brands that on camera people are attracted to it, and then when they get behind the camera and meet the real person, that is you. Like, you're putting out a real version of yourself, your true self, versus a version that you're creating to attract people that isn't really you.
That will never work. Medium term, long term, for sure.
No.
You will be exposed.
Absolutely, and you won't feel passionate about what you're doing. You'll feel like you're faking it, and it's just not a good way to live.
Yeah. So is that your best thoughts as well then? Your snapshot thoughts for people? Do we?
Yeah. I mean, the first question is, am I clear on who I am? Like, who am I as an individual? What are my core values?
Okay.
Let me distill that into 3 to 5 things, and then how do I create content around my core values? How do I put that out there to people so that now they're clear? I am clear, so that therefore they are clear on my message.
Okay. No, that's so good. And as we finish, how can everyone find you, follow you, learn more about you? All the resources that you have. Talk to us about everything.
I'll make it real simple. It's Erik, E-R-I-K, @onairbrands.com. Just email me if you want to chat, if you want to schedule some time together. It's the simplest way. You could reach me that way.
Okay, and you and the team do some like strategy calls to help people?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we deep dive into you, your business, your whole ecosystem. We'll do a brand audit to see like where things are disconnected.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're very disconnected. So we just make sure that we clean all that up, make the thread that connects everything a cohesive and clear message, so that it aligns with you and your goals.
Okay. And is there a specific URL for the audit that people can go straight to?
No, just email me. I don't have one for now. But Erik @onairbrands. We can schedule some time. I typically give out a podcast thing, but I don't want to confuse the audience. We'll just keep it simple.
And very generous of you. And how about social handles? How can we find you?
I'm everywhere. Erik E. Cabral is typically the social handles. LinkedIn, I'm Erik Cabral. But easy to find.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll track you down. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom and all your passion.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man.
So good. Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please join us again next week, and we'll do it again. Thanks, everybody.